Good afternoon, everyone. This is my second time on stage today, so as boring as it's going to be, I'm going to reintroduce myself for those who were not here earlier on today. My name is Amuchineta Tinapol. I write, speak, and also lecture on the role of innovation within the fashion industry. My platform, FashNerd.com, was started about 7 years ago, and my entire objective was to translate technology in a fashion voice to help the fashion industry understand the role that innovation is playing in securing the future of the industry. I'm also a contributor at Vogue Business, and I'm also a senior contributor at the Interline. I lecture now at London College of Fashion, and my role there basically is to educates the students on innovation that's taking place within the fashion industry so they can understand better what the future of fashion is going to look like. I'm also a fashion innovation consultant. I wear many hats, so you can probably tell. I'm a fashion innovation consultant, which means I work with fashion brands to help them understand which types of technology would work better for their business. Because what it comes down to is not every technology should be adopted, and not every technology is suitable for your business. So you need to kind of look at your customer, look at your strategy, and understand what innovation shall I adopt. So that's basically me in a nutshell. Today I'm going to talk to you about manufacturing. This is a space that I have been writing quite a bit about because I feel like it's super important, because it's kind of forgotten a little bit when we think about sustainability and all these different kind of green initiatives. We forget about manufacturing and the role that innovation is playing within this particular space. Also, there's been a big demand for businesses to go digital. This word confuses those who've been in business for 30 years and wonder why they have to suddenly become digital. Some of us felt the squeeze during the pandemic because those who were not digital really lost out on business opportunities due to the pandemic. This was a big wake-up call to companies to understand that going digital is the way forward. It's no longer an option. And when it comes to manufacturing, it is something that you have to educate yourself on if you can want to be in business in the next 5 to 10 years. One of the ways that manufacturing is changing is on-demand productions. It sounds great on paper, and it has done for the last 10, 15 years, but the problem was people were always afraid, or brands were always afraid, that the idea of actually creating an on-demand type of system will not work with today's consumer. I think this is terribly incorrect. I think today's consumers are what people might say woke, and they do actually want to be able to buy better. And on-demand allows for companies to cut down their waste and also produce products that actually are going to sell and have sold, and they don't have too much left over. And this is super important because I'm sure most of you remember when Burberry burnt a load of things and then it was all over the papers. We can cut that down. You don't have to have waste. Technology is allowing brands to be able to produce what they can sell rather than predict what we're going to buy and then we don't buy it. That creates waste. Another is robotics. When I was looking into robotics and manufacturing, a lot of the manufacturers that I spoke to were kind of scared of the idea of robots. They're going to take our jobs, they said. But this is not the truth. I think when it comes to robotics, especially in manufacturing, it's all about working together to create something, to create it, make it easier, to make it safer for humans as well. We still need the human touch, but what robotics offer us is more better way of doing business, a faster way of doing business. So whenever people look at this type of technology and they kind of go, I don't like it, it will take away my livelihood, it's not about that. Manufacturers need to teach their staff new skills in order to move ahead with their business. And robotics, they play a really key role in ensuring that they're able to manufacture in a fast, safe way and also be able to keep up with demand. Machine learning, AI. This is something that I find has really made a dent in the fashion industry. Some of you might already know that fashion designers are using AI in order to kind of create collections. and kind of figure out which kind of colors, trends, styles are consumers wanting. And this is the same thing in manufacturing. AI allows manufacturers to understand the colors, the styles, what consumer wants, instead of creating products or producing products that no one's going to buy. Machine learning can help manufacturers be more sustainable in their production and also understand who they're producing for. 3D printing is something, in this picture here, I don't know if you guys recognize it. Have any of you heard of Iris van Herpen? No one? Oh my God, you so need to Google her straight away. Iris van Herpen has made 3D printing something really fashionable and stylish. She shows at Paris Fashion Week. And 3D printing is really come a long way from when I first started writing about it about 7 years ago. When I first wrote about it, the quality wasn't that great. It was like, no, how can you wear something made out of this material? It's just not comfortable. But one thing I did learn from that was that when it comes to kind of production and using 3D printing, you need to look at technology in the future. What it produces today is not the point. The point is, where is it headed and what can it produce in the future? I've put together a few exciting innovations that I find exciting that are kind of driving textile manufacturing forward. I can stand here and talk about them, but I also like showing videos because that way you kind of hear it from the horse's mouth rather than just hear it from me.
Millions of tons of textile waste are created each year, but only a fraction is recycled. And it's all because most is made of blended fibers. It's not right. Textiles deserve better than landfill, and the planet does too. We need to close the loop. That's why we created Once More, the world's first open recycling system to tackle textile waste. A system that bridges the gap between returning and reviving textiles in order to create a fiber that closes the loop on a very large scale. Our approach is simple: return, revive, reduce, and plenty of collaboration as well. Through our network of collaborators, we collect textile waste. The textile waste is recycled and combined with renewable wood cellulose from Södra's responsibly run forests. The result: a revived fiber that enables producers to create recyclable or biodegradable products. Products made to be given new life and reduce waste. But Once More is bigger than 3 words. It creates winners throughout the entire value chain. Companies which want to join the journey can enter the system at any stage. That means anyone can be a part of creating a positive impact for generations to come. Let's kick the habit of textile waste.
The reason why I included this particular video in my talk was because manufacturers not only have to think about the product they're producing, they need to think about as well end of life. You know, this product that we're making, is it sustainable? What can we tell those we're producing it for that they can do at the end of life? Because a lot of people focus mainly on one part of the supply chain when we need to focus on the entire supply chain and look at from the very beginning all the way to the end of life. And this is when materials come in. This is when textiles come in. What kind of textiles do they have access to? What kind of textiles are available to produce on a much larger scale? Unfortunately, not so many, but there are some that are out there and they are available on a larger scale. It's all about kind of doing your homework, educating yourself and finding out what can I manufacture today? What kind of materials can I invest in that actually will do the job? Before I press play on this one, Nefa is a company that's based in the Netherlands. Aniela Hoytink, it's a mouthful, is the founder of this company. And the reason I want to talk about her before I press play is because she is a familiar face in the Key House. She's not here this season, but she's been here quite a few times. And what I like about Aniela is that she is showing progression in producing like how we can manufacture new materials. She started first by creating a new material with mycelium, and our whole entire objective was to close the loop. And now, this year, in 2022, she's now created this idea of a new manufacturing method. And the reason why she's done this as well, one of the reasons why, is to kind of help the industry find a way of kind of using all these new materials and how they can manufacture them. Because to be quite honest, a lot of the new materials are not suitable to some of the manufacturing that we have today, that we need new ways of doing it. So she's come up with this really great idea. When you saw that, the lady in there dancing away with the robot, she wasn't literally dancing with the robot. The whole point of that video was to show how we can customize manufacturing, how we can create a product made for that individual. Customization is a word that's been trending for a while now, and it's something that a lot of brands and customers are demanding. They want something made for them. They don't, that kind of sizing and all this stuff, I feel like it's going to be phased out. We're no longer going to have a medium, large, and a small. We're moving towards the idea of manufacturing for the individual, because we're all so different as well. This is another way that a lot of businesses, or new businesses especially, are finding a way of manufacturing and a way of reusing material, recycling material, looking at different options. And one thing you probably noticed in that video was how small the team was. A lot of companies are realizing that doing it on a small scale is not a bad thing. Are we headed towards a future where big, massive manufacturing places are going to be the norm? Most likely not. I think a lot of people are kind of wanting customization, personalization, and they want to be able to feel like they're part of that process. And one thing I do like about this particular company is how they are not only kind of creating garments, but they're creating garments that are sustainable, that are green, and they're also showing that this is possible. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing Jenny, who is from RenewCell, on stage yesterday. I don't know if any of you were able to attend. And she gave such great insight into why it's super important to use recycled materials. I'm sure most of you already know that even the dress I'm wearing, it's difficult to recycle because we've got so much mixed blend. We've got the buttons. So it's not really a very easy or even profitable way of doing business. But we've got solutions such as the one RenewCell offers that makes manufacturing recycled material that little bit more easier. And even though it's still a process and they are still on that journey, because they're not 100% perfect, no one is at this moment in time, they are showing that this is the way forward and join us on this journey. And I really love what RenewCell is doing because I feel like we need to be given solutions that work. A lot of us are told the problem, but none of us are given the tools or the solutions. So what they are doing, they are kind of inviting the industry to try out new types of material and to figure out whether this is what would work for their business. You probably noticed that on my talk, one theme that's running through this is the words sustainability, green, ethical. These are kind of things that we need to include, not as an add-on when we talk about manufacturing or we talk about fabrics or we talk about fashion. We need to just be part of that conversation. So when I kind of was given the opportunity to talk about different innovations in manufacturing, in my head I thought, do you know what, let's make sure that I include sustainable ways of manufacturing, because how we manufacture textiles has changed, is changing, and probably will continue to change. So I'm going to end with a quote. I like to end with a quote at the moment because I always feel like it kind of rounds up what I've been saying. And basically, I've written, although we are still a long way from achieving the target of zero landfill, the first step should always be think about how you can turn waste into value. A lot of brands and businesses are learning that waste itself can be valuable. We can close that loop. And that is basically going to be the way forward for us to be more sustainable, more green, and manufacture more responsibly. Any questions? I know you're a shy bunch. So if you've got any questions or if you would like any kind of further information or anything that I can share with you, please feel free to come to my booth. It's right at the back near the coffee machine. And I'm more than happy to share names. Some of these brands here give you details. So if you want to kind of educate yourself further or learn a little bit more, you can do so in your own time. Thank you so much. Thank you.